2023 GR86, manufactured date 7/25, got about 10K miles. This is strictly a track car that competes in our local 8.6 Drive Challenge Time Attack series. Another shop actually tried to install the Formula Delta pan and they could not get it to seal. So here we are. We've probably done at least 20 of these Formula Delta pan installs by now. Does this particular Formula Delta pan have a product defect? Is the other shop just a bunch of nincompoops? Why do fools fall in love? We will answer all three questions right now.
Why do fools fall in love?
So the shop could not get the Formula Delta oil pan to seal, so they decided to reinstall the factory pan. And immediately I can already see a disaster waiting to happen. You can see all the excess RTV poking out through the front of the OEM pan. Just how much excess RTV did they use? Why don't we find out? Alright, so the amount of RTV used to reseal the original pan back onto the engine was so comical that I asked the owner if we could keep this pan. Some of the backstory: the owner unfortunately chose a chain wheel and tire place. Yes, a wheel and tire place to install his Formula Delta pan. Apparently they were really overconfident when telling him like, oh yeah, this is no problem, we can do this, no problem. Essentially he said they panicked when they couldn't get the pan to seal. So in a panic, I can only imagine that they absolutely wanted this one to seal, so they decided to summon all the RTV in the universe, like when Goku summons the Spirit Bomb, and they Spirit Bombed all the RTV onto this oil pan. I just cannot believe. Again, just a comical amount of RTV on here. This is like almost a whole tube of RTV. Okay, so for reference, here's my soda. That RTV is almost as tall as that polar bear. Astounding. It belongs in a museum. Looking at the Formula Delta pan, trying to diagnose or find out how come the old shop couldn't get this pan to seal. Is this pan warped? Does it have a product defect? Ends up, it's pretty obvious why this pan couldn't seal. If you look at the snail trail of old RTV, they actually put the RTV on the opposite side of where it's supposed to go. We will overlay photos of the factory service manual instructions on where you're supposed to apply RTV, and essentially they applied RTV in the opposite location, which means this RTV was sealing nothing. Again, the wheel and tire shop promised the owner that they would follow the instructions to the T. This Formula Delta pan had included the entire paper instructions for this pan install. When I explained to the owner exactly what happened, he was like, well, you know, they certainly didn't follow the instructions. That being said, before we installed this pan, there was a bunch of junk inside that we thoroughly washed out and cleaned out before reinstalling it. The owner doesn't know if the wheel and tire shop cleaned the oil strainer, so this isn't really going to be an accurate assessment on the manufacture date and how much RTV this engine really had. You can see relatively clean. Usually when another shop's been in here, the oil pickup looks kind of, the best way I can describe it is like murky, and this is exactly what I expect when another shop's been in here. Unfortunately, I think the murkiness is if you use like a grinding tool and you don't clean up sufficiently, all the RTV and like the aluminum and bits kind of coagulate together, and you know, there's basically a physical gel that blocks up the oil strainer, makes it look murky like this. Pretty scary stuff actually. For a gel to be blocking up the oil strainer. With that being said, we did another oil strainer cleaning anyway while the pan was off. Why don't we see what we pulled out? Okay, so pretty typical when I see another shop's been in here, we can see a lot of probably not what was originally in the oil strainer. They probably did some, you know, semblance of an oil strainer cleaning. That was probably from the engine, but the rest of this, the majority of this is probably just insufficient cleanup from the old scraped off RTV. There's a piece of red shop towel, so you could do some digging and see which uniform and linen company this particular wheel and tire shop uses. All right, so again, another note on choosing the right shop to work on your specialty vehicle. Unfortunately, a lot of the owners I see, a lot of our new customers, this new 86 platform, this is either their very first brand new car or their very first sports car. The two issues with that is that they've never had a specialty vehicle before, and then they've never had to service a vehicle from new before, right? Maybe they haven't even dealt with the dealership and all that's wrong with the dealership, or I should say all the politics and the hurdles that you have to deal with as a customer at the car dealership. Where am I going with this? All around the country, sometimes even around the world, a common message I get is like, hey, do you have a recommended shop in my area to perform this service? I usually don't. My basically scope of view is in California. And then even Southern California is such a big place, and I don't spend a lot of time there, so tough for me to give people a reference or to give a reference for a good shop when I've never used this shop or these people are only like a casual acquaintance to me. With that being said, how do you choose a good shop for your specialty vehicle? In this instance, two big things I could say is the best way to find a specialty shop for your specialty vehicle is get in touch with your local community. Physical car meets is going to be the best, but the other side is like if they have like a Discord server or some sort of chat group, probably the best thing to ask is where does everyone go and who does everyone vouch for? Honestly, it might be some guy working out of his garage. That's a lot of times that's the case. A lot of really good technicians aren't in the field anymore, and really skilled guys are doing side work just out of their garage. I was one of those people at one point, a well-trained technician, and then on my days off or on the side, I would do specialty work out of my home garage. And I think that's going to be the key, is a shop or a person that specializes in your particular vehicle or your particular brand. The analogy I've heard for automotive technicians, if you compare it to, let's say, a doctor, right? If you ask a human doctor, okay, well, you're done with Mr. Lee. Now here's a zebra and a porcupine and a giraffe with these symptoms. Go ahead, you can work on those now. It's the same thing, right? Same thing as a human. They've got a heart, lungs, brain. It should be the same, right? And then we know from this animal analogy, absolutely not. The methods and the knowledge it takes to service certain specialty vehicles or certain brands is going to be completely different than how you service others. Put it really simply, the way you service Japanese cars is going to be a lot different than you service, let's say, German or Swedish cars. Again, circling back, where is the best place to service your specialty vehicle? My answer, it's going to be a specialty shop or a specialty individual that has a focus on your particular vehicle or your particular brand. For people that may not be in the know, you would think the dealership would be a good place, right? Let's just say, as a personal example, let's just say you have a specialty Mustang. And this example comes from a personal customer where I forget which Mustang it exactly is, but it's the one with the V8 Voodoo engine. So the issue with that, you would think, oh, this is a Ford product. The Ford dealership and the Ford dealership technicians should have knowledge in this vehicle, which usually is not the case. The problem with a manufacturer having a specialty vehicle is not every technician is trained up and has the knowledge base or has worked on enough of these specialty vehicles to actually know how to work on this car, right? This is technically a Ford Mustang, but because it's a specialty submodel, it's going to look completely different from the regular Mustangs that you work on. And in this instance, the customer gave up on the car just because the Ford, every time he brought that car in for a warranty concern, it was always a disaster. So the car would take, way too long. He would spend way too much time inside the dealership. There was a point where he got the car back and actually the shifter came out into his hand while he was driving, and he found out that the bolts that retain the shifter are one-time use, and whoever did that shifter repair, they reused the bolts and then the shifter came out in his hand. Pretty scary stuff. I would argue in this instance that a specialty shop that saw a lot of these Voodoo Mustangs are going to be way more capable and way more educated than your factory Ford dealership. Similarly, this is an 8.6 channel. I know local Subaru dealers who tell me they really don't see new BRZs that often. What does that mean, right? Even though you are Subaru, you don't see enough of this chassis to really gain a knowledge base for, okay, these are the ways that these, chassis are different. You need to repair these differently than, the rest of our, quote unquote, normal Subaru lineup. And I think this applies for all specialty vehicles.